Hi guys, welcome back. Today I have a very exciting video because I'm going to be comparing two products that have really interested me. I actually love both of them and I've had a lot of questions like which one to buy because they are from the same brand and they claim when you read about them to do pretty much the same thing. So it's like, why have they brought out a different one? How do they compare? Which one should I buy? And I thought I would settle all of that for you guys today. And of course, I am talking about two concealers from Bourjois. The first one is the Radiance Reveal Concealer, which you guys will have heard me bang on and on about. I absolutely love this. And to be quite honest with you, I didn't think anything could replace this in my collection because I've loved it ever since it launched. I use it pretty much daily and I adore it. So that's the first one. And I'm going to be comparing it to the Healthy Mix, which is the newest concealer that Bourjois have just launched to coincide with their newly formulated Healthy Mix foundation. If you are interested in a first impression / application of both the concealer and the new Healthy Mix foundation, I will link that video down below because I have done that. But what I found was a lot of you guys were requesting a review comparing these two products because I do get you guys, like, why have they formulated a new concealer? How do they differ? Is there a point in having both? Is there room in your collections for both? And is it warranted? Do you need to pick up both of these products if you already have one, or do you need to just kind of choose one depending on what it does for you? So I thought, again, I would nail all that today, so let's get to it. The first thing I thought I would address with a lot of my reviews is the packaging. Now, I actually quite like both of the products in terms of their packaging. I am partial to the Radiance Reveal because I feel like it just looks much more high-end. Now, I actually thought this was a glass bottle, but it's not. I believe it's plastic. It just kind of looks glass because it has that really nice frosted appeal to it, which I think looks so high-end, very Dior-esque, and I love the fact that it comes with this silver lid. I feel like the silver lid, the frosted design, just makes it look much more high-end than it actually is, and I love this packaging. They have kind of kept things kind of similar. They've given us the packaging, but they've given us the plastic bottle, which is not frosted, so you can actually tell that this is plastic just by looking at it, as opposed to this one which looks like glass. And you have the font on the front with the red lid. I don't mind the packaging of either of these products. I actually think that they're both quite nice. However, I do prefer the Radiance Reveal, but I guess that's just a matter of preference. They have kind of kept this very much part of the Healthy Mix family in regards to the red lid and that kind of thing, so I get why they've brought something out very similar. It does feel like they've regressed slightly because they brought out this amazing packaging for this concealer and then they've kind of given us this, which on first glance just looks a little bit kind of like they've gone backwards, but I do like both and I don't really mind. When it comes to their applicators, they are both exactly the same shape, which is amazing because one of the things that I loved about the Radiance Reveal was the shape of the applicator. I'm going to show you them both up close now, but they're kind of slanted and I feel like that makes for such a perfect kind of precision when you're applying it under the eye area, or if you're spot concealing, it just kind of dots into any areas because the edge is tapered. I love the applicators of both. I'm really happy that they've not changed it. They've given us that slant which was so needed, especially on the high potency of the cheekbones, on the eye area. Amazing. And also they've given us that very soft head on the applicator as well with both of them, so they go on very smoothly. They're very easy to kind of just work in and the applicators are bang on. Absolutely love them, and I'm really glad that they haven't regressed with this and they've kept it the same shape. So that's the shape of the applicators, and in terms of the concealers, the applicators work really well and it's not something I would have messed with. It's not broke, don't be. So now we've talked about the exteriors, let's talk about the products inside. So they are quite different in terms of the texture, how they go on, but actually what they both claim to do is kind of the same, which is why it's caused a lot of confusion. They both claim to make the eye area look less dull, less fatigued, more bright in a way. As of right now, I'm actually wearing two different concealers on both sides of my face. If you haven't noticed by now, I guess you would say they are quite similar. This side of my face, I've used the Radiance Reveal concealer, and it's definitely more highlighty and brighter, especially when you see it up close compared to this side, where I've used the Healthy Mix concealer. Now, similarities. In terms of the similarities, obviously, the applicator, exactly the same. When it comes to their texture, the Radiance Reveal has a gel kind of texture, so it's a lot thicker than the Radiance Reveal, which means it actually takes a lot longer to blend, which I was shocked about because I love the consistency of this so much, but when I actually had it side by side with the Healthy Mix, I spent a lot more time trying to perfect and blend this than I did with this one, and that really shocked me because when I hadn't have compared them side by side, I wouldn't have noticed it, but then when they were literally in front of me, both of them, I did take significantly longer to blend this out. I'm going to show you application of both of the concealers on my eye areas right now. So what I thought I would do is show you without makeup, because I know that some people tend to conceal before foundation and some people after. So I wanted to cover both bases. So this application is going to be before foundation. I'm going to use the Radiance Reveal first, and I always use a generous amount, especially in my under eye area. And you'll notice that it's very creamy, it's very bright, and it's actually a few shades lighter than my skin tone, despite the fact that I've gone for the darkest shade. That's not too much of an issue because I am putting it in an area that I want to brighten, and my foundation would just go on top and even things out, but that is something worth noting. I also tend to pop it on my eyelids as well, just to neutralise any kind of veins or any darkness or tiredness, and I feel like it blends beautifully. I'm also, just for argument's sake, going to pop it on a few blemishes, because I know that these concealers don't claim to conceal blemishes, but if you're going to bring out a concealer, let's test it against everything. Some people don't want to buy a concealer just for highlighting, so I thought I would try it, and actually I was quite surprised. It did minimise redness, it didn't highlight, it didn't draw focus to any of the blemishes, it didn't make the spot look any more obvious, it just kind of dubbed down the redness, which is fantastic. It's not normally a product I would recommend for it, but I just thought I would try it because when you see me apply the Healthy Mix onto blemishes, you'll see that that actually works quite well, despite the fact it also doesn't claim to conceal blemishes. So I'm now going to apply the Healthy Mix, and you'll see that actually this is a lot smoother. It blends a lot quicker, it's a lot lighter in its texture, it doesn't feel as heavy, and actually it's more of an authentic shade. I also noticed that as the Radiance Reveal dries side by side with the Healthy Mix, it actually dries on the pinky side, whereas the Healthy Mix actually dries more of an authentic colour, so it does oxidise the Radiance Reveal, and I've never noticed that before, so I was quite surprised to see that. But you'll notice looking straight on that there is also quite an illuminating quality to it. My eyes look brighter, more awake. They don't look as highlighted as the Radiance Reveal, but that, you know, that is just a matter of preference. Do you want something that looks more natural, or do you want to look like you've applied something quite highlighty? That's the difference between the two. You'll notice now when I pop it onto blemishes, it conceals them very well. It doesn't accentuate them, it doesn't bother them in any way, it just conceals them, which is fantastic. And it was also very easy just to blend out and looked very, very good indeed. So I'm going to show you now my face. One side obviously is done with the Radiance Reveal, one side is done with the Healthy Mix. And I do like both sides, but I have to say I am leaning more towards the Healthy Mix because I feel like it's a more natural finish, especially because it's going to be underneath foundation. You can see it just barely on my skin, and it does look a lot more natural. I'm now going to apply it on top of my foundation, so I'm not going to apply loads because I've literally just applied it, but I just wanted you guys to see what it looks like once you've applied your foundation, because I know some people tend to just do a bit of spot concealing once their makeup is applied. So again, it went on very, very smoothly. Highlighted in all the right areas, was fantastic for just dotting along the nose, on top of the cheekbones, brightening up the eye area, and I do feel like this serves more as a dubbed down liquid highlighter. Now that I've seen it, you know, compared to the Healthy Mix, I do feel like that's what it's more relevant for. You'll notice that when I apply the Healthy Mix, I use a lot less of it because I don't want that effect. I just want it to conceal, and it has smoothed on very, very nicely indeed, and it has neutralised any dark areas that were left. It was concealing blemishes very, very well, and you'll notice that when I squint my eyes, none of them gather, which is fantastic, especially considering the fact that the Radiance Reveal was quite a lot thicker. I thought it would gather slightly, but they haven't, which is amazing. So yeah, that's them applied with and without makeup. I just wanted you guys to see the raw authentics and what they look like, and yeah, I'm really happy with both. So I think what it comes down to is they're both very, very similar indeed. If you want something that's more highlighty and that you can definitely use for highlighting, then I would go for the Radiance Reveal. But I have to say, if I could only use one now, I feel like the Healthy Mix is a more all-encompassing concealer because it was great for blemishes. It gave just the right amount of brightness without it looking like I was too highlighty, if that makes sense. So this is much more of a natural highlight, and I'm surprised about that because I thought nothing would replace this, and I don't feel like you need to own both in your collection. I feel like if you want one that does everything and you love a light texture and you're not too bothered about it looking like Kim Kardashian's cheekbones and things like that, go for the Healthy Mix. You already have the ingredients popped in here as well that are really nourishing to the skin, really feeding to the skin, and it gives you a nice, I mean, it's not even like it just kind of mattifies and it just looks okay, it just conceals. There is a nice brightness to this, which is amazing. So I actually think I would go for this one. If asked which one, if I could only use one, which one would I repurchase, I would actually say this one. Don't get me wrong, I love this for highlighting. I think it really does give a beautiful brightness and a beautiful healthy glow, but I feel like when it comes to concealing, this is more all-encompassing than this. I wouldn't put this on blemishes. It kind of dubbed them down nicely, but it just wasn't its purpose, and it did oxidize, and it didn't dry as nicely because it took quite longer to apply, and it just took longer to seep in. So I did notice that, and again, it's not something I would have noticed and I hadn't really put them side by side to the test, so that was super interesting. They both also claim to last for 24 hours. I can vouch for this one as it absolutely does do that. It gives beautiful brightness for a full 24-hour day. I've actually tested this and not took it off, and in the morning my eyes look great. It was just for experimental purposes. Normally I would never do that, but I wanted to test it. It does work. This one does exactly the same. I tested this one as well on the other eye, and it looked fantastic in the morning. I would definitely say though, this stayed true to colour, whereas this one kind of went a bit pinky, I have to admit. So if you're not a fan of the pinky undertones in your skin, I'm definitely yellow, which is why it showed up a lot more than this side. And again, I wouldn't have noticed it because if I was wearing the same on each side, it would have just done it naturally and they would have been the same. But because I was doing it with both of them separately, I noticed that the healthy mix looked more natural, more like my yellow undertone, whereas this one went a bit salmony, so I did definitely notice that. I mean, that's great for under eye circles, but it did go quite a different colour, and that's something to consider as well. I believe that they're both the same price of $7 or $8.99, so not too much difference in terms of their price. So yeah, I think if you're looking for extreme highlight, you want something that's going to be kapow on the eye area and just dazzle, I would definitely go for the Radiance Reveal, especially if you're not worried about putting it on blemishes and things like that. If you want to contour down your nose, that kind of thing, this is a really good product. Also, if you want something that's severely hydrating, that's going to be quite a gel-like consistency, I would go for this. If you just want a concealer that brightens, refreshes, awakens, and you can also use it on a bit of spot concealing, I would go for the Healthy Mix. It's just a lot more natural, and I think definitely I prefer it. I took the darkest shade in both, so I mean, you'll notice that this one is significantly lighter, but again, that's because of the highlighty elements. But yeah, absolutely love both, but I think that if I could only use one, I would go for this one. I don't feel like you need both. I've given you guys the raw authentic, so you guys can make that decision whether your collection warrants both, but if I had to choose one, again, it would be this one, which I'm super surprised about because when I put them together, I thought nothing would replace this, so it was a pleasant surprise for me as well. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to pop any comments or questions that you have down in the comments box down below, and I'll make sure to get those answered for you. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching today. I'm going to pop a couple of videos here for you guys to go and watch, and also make sure to subscribe. And if you're new to my channel, hi, I hope you decide to stick around and subscribe, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!